Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Luke with Sketchy Bikes and we're back on the CB750 project. I'm going to get into the brake. As I mentioned in earlier videos, the front brake on this, after I rode in the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride 2 years ago now, I think it was, it poured on us. It was rainy and I parked the bike and I kind of left it. I was a bad motorcycle owner. I did what you're not supposed to do and put her away wet. So I'm going to get on this brake and take it apart. And this brake has always squealed. Let's take a look here. The rotor, I don't know if you could catch it on the camera, but it's very glazed over. So I'm thinking about getting a new rotor for this, but these Honda brake calipers, they've used these on many bikes. It's like, I'll call it a clamshell design. There's a piece over here with a stationary pad. This side is a caliper that actually has a hydraulic fluid and a piston in it. And this is applying the pressure. The whole arm pivots back here. There's a pivot on there and there's a tension adjustment with a spring here. So as your pads wear and things move, this has some play in it and you can center it on the rotor so it sits all nice with that adjuster there. So I'm gonna have to get the brake fluid out. I'm gonna go up to the reservoir up top. Probably just use some paper towels, suck as much fluid as I can out of there with that. Crack the line loose. Then I'm going to go on the other side here. Just walk around. You can see there's two Allen bolts that go through here. Those are an 8mm Allen. So I'm just going to take that apart. That little cotter pin's just holding the pad on this side, so I don't need to take that out. But I'll take those two bolts out, take the other side out, then I'll pop the piston out. I'm going to get a new piston for it. One of the Cafe Racer sites, they sell stainless steel piston. It's supposed to be a little bit better, but I'll put a new Honda seal on it. I've rebuilt this entire brake system once. So I've already put, these are all new lines. Did a full master cylinder rebuild. I used all Honda parts for all that. I used a Honda seal in here. I cleaned up the original, actually I might have put a new piston in, but it was a steel, not stainless steel. So I'm curious to see what that looks like when we take it apart. So we'll get to it. All right, let's open this master cylinder. Try not to make a mess. If I was smarter, I would lower the bike, but we're gonna do it this way. All right. Clean the cap up. Doesn't look too bad. Actually, you know what? I can't see in there. And I want to see in there. So I'm going to lower the bike. We'll be right back. Okay, I got the air hooked up. Let's drop this bike down. You know what? I still can't see in there. We'll take it all the way down. Okay. There we go. Let's take a look in there. See inside that master cylinder. See, we're still making pressure, but the brake really isn't releasing, which makes me think we have an issue in that caliper. So that fluid actually doesn't look all that bad. I'm going to suck that out with a paper towel, and that way when we crack it, we'll only have a little bit left. All right, let's see if we can do this without making a mess. Clean up the threads on the cap. Brake fluid is hydroscopic or scopic. I don't know what the proper term is, or if it's one and the same. However, brake fluid is designed by nature to absorb moisture. So that's why they say when you open a can of brake fluid, you're not supposed to reuse it, use it all, buy a new one, keep it sealed, all that. So brake systems are meant to be sealed systems, and the fluid is meant to hold the water in the brake system. So, like I said, I rebuilt this once. I guess it's been a few years, but you know, it's probably 3 years ago I rebuilt this. Could have probably used like a turkey baster or something to get some of this fluid out, but it seems to work just as well. Get that out of there. Sure I didn't spill any. I got a good bit of it out. There's some milkiness in the bottom here, so you know what, that might have just been tarnishing on the aluminum housing of the master cylinder. So this really isn't a bad way. If you have good paper towels, these things absorb a lot of the fluid and makes it kind of easy. Thing is cleaned out. 2 paper towels gets her done. There you go. Let's go to the final wipe here. Make sure this is all clean. No brake fluid leaking everywhere. Oop. Got a little bit sprayed out here. Make sure you get that off the frame because brake fluid will ruin paint rather quickly. So, okay, cool. All right, down to the bottom. Okay, brake fluid's out. Let's get this bike up to a workable height for the front. All right, time to start taking this apart. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take this brake line off the caliper. That is a flared connection. I am using a flare nut wrench. You could use a regular wrench on here, but flare nut wrench is designed to grip on almost all sides of that fastener without ruining it. So it has a hole to fit over the line. It's on like that. Work that back and forth a little. You don't want the hard line to spin. Just the flare fitting. Expect us to have some brake fluid here. There's obviously still some fluid in the line. And in the caliper. Alright. See, that fitting is free. And I'm not going to force this around. I mean, it sits on this rubber hose. That out. Okay. You want to be careful not to damage the flare on the end of here, because that is a spot where you could get a brake fluid leak and have a difficult time to bleed your brakes when it comes down to it. Alright, so that's free. This caliper should come off. Go on the other side, pull those 2 Allen bolts out. Need to make sure when you pull these out that your spokes are not in the way, so you could extract the bolts and get a wrench on there. Alright, I can feel everything loose here. One bolt out. And the other. And we will separate this caliper. One half here. And if I don't drop it, there's the other half here. Let's take a look at the. So here's your two halves of the caliper. You can see how the pads are worn. This is sitting like this, and it actually looks like the leaving edge of the pad is worn more than the entering side of the pad, which to me doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You can see with that pin in the back that holds the pad in, this pad's free to float. This is a pad that it was stuck, and if I look in here, I don't know if the camera could pick that up, it does look like we have some corrosion, especially along the bottom where this pad sits in here. So I wonder if that piston is stuck in there. We'll take this caliper apart and we will see what it looks like on the inside. Okay, let's work on getting the piston out of this caliper. We've got the pad on here, and that's where it looked like we had some corrosion along the edge of the pad. This pad should, I don't know if you could catch it on the camera, it should come out. See that corrosion along the edge? I don't know if that's picking it up well. Definitely got some schmutz in there. Let's see if we grab this with a large pair of channel locks. Okay, we got the pad out. Oh man, look at that. So I think that's why my front brake was locking up. If you could look, lots of corrosion on that pad. Here's the back side of the pad. You can see there's corrosion on there, and oh my gosh, look at that piston. There's dust in here, powder, where that piston is stuck into this caliper. So I would absolutely say it's the root of my problem. It's the top of the piston that the pad sits on. That came out, and the piston is actually recessed in here amongst all this gook around it. That's bad. So hopefully we could get that out. I don't know. It was stuck out. I'm going to try. I've had luck before putting some air to the inlet. I still got the bleeder connected. So this is probably a safety glasses moment, so we don't lose an eye. I've seen another technique where they've pumped grease in through the bleeder and use the grease to force it out, but let's see if we could use air, and if I could get this thing to pop with putting a little air to it. I'm going to put it facing down on the bench here, put the air into where the line hooks up. I see no movement. Nothing. I think I'm going to soak this for a little with some PB Blaster. It's not going to hurt, being it's so corroded. Let me let this soak for a little bit and we'll come back to it. Okay, I'm back. I went and ate some lunch and let this soak down in some PB Blaster. We'll see if that makes any difference. Down there with a rag and kind of clean some of it up. Got some of that crustiness off. See, it'd be nice if I could get this out with some air. Flip that upside down. Put some pressure to it. Okay, my battery died on the GoPro. Let's try this again. We're gonna put some air into it. There it is, Yahtzee. Popped right out. Look at that nastiness. There is some major schmutz in there. Definitely gonna have to clean this out. Look at the top of this piston. Clean that off. Look at this side. You can see, I don't know, these old brake systems. This piston was new. Look, it's got pitting on it. I'm definitely going to order that stainless piston. I think this one's seen better days. I thought I put a new one in when I rebuilt this, but I can't remember. Oh my gosh, look at the stuff in the bottom of there. It's, let me see here. Yeah, look at that. That's what happens when you get moisture in your brake system. There's like a film in here. Yeah, that's pretty bad. So I'm gonna pop the seal out of here. There's a rubber seal. See if I can get that seal out. I'll need a different pick. But that seal that's inside here, basically just pick it out. And I clean this whole housing up, polish this inside of this, get this all good and clean, and order a stainless piston and a new Honda seal for this, and put it back together, some new pads. I may spring on a new rotor as well. Might as well, I've gone this far. Make it all fresh. So that's where that's at. I'm gonna order some parts and make another video once we're ready for reassembly.